This beginner sewing project will show you how to make a pillow cover using contrasting fabric. It's the second part of a two-part series on pillow covers. The first part included making a one-piece pillow cover using a pillowcase, but you can also make that using 1 yard of fabric. Making a pillow cover using contrasting fabric requires that you use 3 pieces of fabric, and we will review that in this video. After reviewing, please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel or my blog at sewingwithdesi.com. So let's get to it. Supplies needed for the 3-piece envelope pillow cover with contrasting fabric for the back of the pillow cover includes 1/2 of a yard or 18 inches of cotton fabric for the front of the pillow, 1/2 of a yard or 18 inches of contrasting fabric for the back of the pillow, 1 polyfill pillow, 14 inches wide by 14 inches long, 1 pair of fabric scissors, which should be used for cutting fabric only to keep those scissors sharp, 1 spool of polyester matching color thread, 1 pair of small detail scissors, usually about 4.5 inches, 1 tape measure, 1 marking pencil, preferably white, a ruler that's at least 18 inches long, straight pins, a pin cushion, an iron, an ironing board, and a sewing machine. Polyester-filled pillows are available in various package sizes, and for that reason it's always a good idea to measure the size of the pillow for yourself. Now that the pillow has been purchased, one of the things that should be done before cutting any fabric to make a pillow cover is to confirm the dimensions of the pillow. The first thing to confirm is the pillow's width. That can be determined by taking your left hand and the end of the tape measure and placing it in the center of the pillow along the left seam of the pillow. Then pull the tape measure all the way to the right until you reach the other seam on the right, and it should land on 14 inches. Measuring the length of the pillow is very similar to measuring the width of the pillow, in that you will take your hand and place it at the top seam of the pillow and pulling the tape measure down until you reach the bottom seam, and it should land on 14 inches. Now that we have confirmed the dimensions of the pillow as being 14 inches wide by 14 inches long, we need to determine the fabric requirements for making the 3-piece envelope pillow cover with contrasting fabric for the back of the pillow cover. For the front of the pillow cover, measure and cut only 1 piece of fabric that is 15 inches wide and 15 inches long. Fabric that's cut in fabric stores will traditionally cut you a piece of fabric that actually has 2 layers to it. When you open it up, that will let you know whether it's 44 or 45 inches wide or 36 inches wide or 60 inches wide. So you will actually have a 2-layer piece of fabric, but we only need 1 layer. So open that piece of fabric up and then cut the dimensions of 15 inches wide and 15 inches long. The reason why it's 15 inches instead of 14 inches is that there has to be some allowance for you to be able to sew around that piece of fabric. So that's why the extra inches are added, so that you can have what's known as a 1/2 inch seam allowance, which basically means when you get ready to sew, go in 1/2 inch from the edge of that fabric to sew that seam. That is what's called a 1/2 inch seam allowance. For each of the 2 pieces of contrasting fabric for the back of the pillow, you should measure 15 inches wide by 11 inches long. The 11 inches long is to account for the overlap or the envelope portion of the pillow cover. The calculations for the length of the pillow cover are as follows. You divide 14 inches of the length in half, which is 14 divided by 2 is equal to 7 inches. But in order for the overlap to happen, you need to add extra inches or extra fabric. So we're adding 4 inches for that. So 7 plus 4 is equal 11 inches. And then you've got 2 pieces that you want to overlap. So the total amount of fabric that you need for the length of the pillow is 22 inches for the pillow cover, that is. If several inches weren't added, the back of the pillow would have a gapped opening. As my own general rule, I add 4 inches whenever I make envelope pillow covers. So the quantity of fabric needed equals 15 inches wide by 36 inches long, which is 14 inches for the length of the pillow, plus the 22 inches for the total of the 2 pieces that are going to go on the back of that pillow cover. This is a piece of fabric that I had left over from Christmas last year. I am going to use this one piece of fabric in order to cut out the front portion of the envelope pillow cover. The dimensions will be 15 inches wide by 15 inches long, but we'll have to flip the material over so that we can make the markings with a white marking pencil and then cut the dimensions that we need. This is the flip side or wrong side of that snowflake fabric that was mentioned previously. The wrong side of the fabric will be used for marking the fabric for the 15 inches wide by 15 inch dimensions that we'll be needing. In addition, I'd like to mention that the squares that are on the background underneath this fabric represents a cardboard cutting board, and each of those squares represents 1 inch. So that is another tool that you can use to help confirm the accuracy of the measurements that you'll need for the front of this pillow cover. This picture represents the 2 pieces of contrasting fabric that are being measured and cut for the back of the pillow cover. This image represents that 15 inches will be used for the contrasting back fabric for the pillow cover. This image represents the contrasting back fabric of the pillow cover, which is 11 inches long. That included the 14 inches divided by 2, which equals to 7 inches, plus the 4 inches that was added for the overlap section of the pillow cover. We'll be getting ready for the next phase of making the envelope pillow cover by making a double hem on the bottom of each of the 2 overlapping pieces. After ironing the double hem, top stitch along the upper edge of the inside double hem. Repeat for the other end of the fabric. That is the top stitching. Several techniques can be used to help prevent seam raveling, including zigzag stitching, also using an over edge presser foot, and also a pair of pinking shears can be used. The right side of the front pillow cover should be faced up against the right side of the 2 overlap pieces of the back pillow cover. Pin the right sides of the 2 overlapping pieces to the front side of the pillow cover. Sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance around the entire pieces. What this means is that Measure 1/2 inch from the edge of each of the sides of the fabric and sew along that line to make a 1/2 inch seam allowance. After sewing all of the sides, remove the pins and pull the envelope cover inside out so that the front of the pillow cover shows and then the two back pieces are overlapping. Press the pillow cover and then insert the 14-inch polyfill pillow. You have completed the project. The project is now complete, and you can see the 3-piece envelope pillow cover in these photos. The first photo represents the front of the pillow, which was the snowflake design, and then on the back are the two overlap pieces of the contrasting fabric. You could decide that you just want to have the same fabric on the front and the back, and in that particular case you could probably just use the 1-piece envelope pillow cover, which was illustrated in part 1 of this series. There are all kinds of pillows and the ways that you can actually make pillows, designs, etc. And I would encourage you to experiment with some of that. There are different types of fabrics that you can use. You can use upholstery fabric, you can use velvet, you can use all kinds of fabric in order to make pillow covers. You're only going to be limited by your imagination, so give it a shot. Envelope pillow covers represent some of the easiest beginner sewing projects. Sewing with Desi has provided 2 YouTube video tutorials to introduce a few basic sewing skills that include using a tape measure, marking fabric, cutting fabric, following sewing instructions, sewing seams, and showing how to make 1-piece and 3-piece envelope pillow covers with contrasting fabric. Just in time for the holidays, Sewing with Desi will post fun and easy beginner sewing projects on a weekly basis until Christmas. These projects will be posted on my YouTube channel as well as on my sewing blog called sewingwithdesi.com. These projects will include home decor, gift ideas, and even items that you may want to make and sell to earn extra income. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel as well as to my sewing blog, and I'll see you the next time. So stay safe and stay tuned.